What's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. Another episode. Holy smokes. We had a fantastic episode yesterday. Joanne hosted. So if you want to hear that, listen to Joanne, meet Joanne, and listen to our wonderful guests from yesterday's episode. We'll just tune into yesterday's episode. It's all over the internet. It's on podcast. It's on YouTube, and it's right here on this actual Legendary Marketer Facebook page that we're streaming live from right now. We are streaming live. It is 10 o'clock. If you can read my watch there upside down. Why would I keep a watch that doesn't tell the correct time? It's because we're live. And it is White Shirt Day. Holy smokes, Bruce. Why in the heck do I have a white shirt? Well, because I actually requested a white shirt, be put in our little t-shirt, Shopify site or whatever we have there that sells our t-shirts for us. It's not a very complex system. It's just a silly little t-shirt. So it's not a profit center for us. If you want to go and pick up a t-shirt, white for the summertime, we also got some tank tops. You can do that at belegendary.shop. Now let's get to our guest, okay? She is named Kelly, and she is introverted, and she is finding success anyways. Let's hear her story. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not bad. I could always be a little bit better, a little bit worse. So,
Right. Take what you can
I'm
get.
happy. Yeah, I'm happy being somewhere right in the middle. Where are you calling in from?
I'm in California.
What part?
In Sacramento. Well, I'm north of Sacramento, but I would say Sacramento. Most people don't know where I'm from. So
I got you. And so, what is happening or was happening in your life that made you be open or look for alternative ways to earn income online and develop skills? What's your story? Tell us your legendary story in a nutshell.
Well, I was unexpectedly laid off. My position was eliminated the Friday before Memorial Day weekend. So that was really fun to go into the holiday weekend. I was laid off and kind of freaking out, but at the same time, really relieved. And then I was scrolling through social media and actually happened to run across it on Sean Sorrento's page. I've been following him for years when he did the fitness industry. So I ran across it and the rest is history. Now we're here.
I got you. Nice. Yeah, I know Sean. Cool dude. And yeah, came from the fitness industry. Are you in the fit? Tell us what you did there. You just enjoy working out, or is that where you did you have some sort of a career at one time in the fitness industry?
Yes, but not publicly. I was a personal trainer for many, many years. And then I had done some competitions and things like that, but nothing crazy.
Okay. The big piece here was you got laid off in May of this year, specifically May 27th. That's the day, right?
Yep.
And I know that because you wrote that down on our little questionnaire. That date is sort of, what do they call that? Branded, seared kind of into your mind a little bit as sort of, was that a defining moment when that day happened? Why was it a defining moment?
It was because I knew that I wanted something different and I knew that I wanted something better. I have never really been able to find my place, right? Like my home in a certain industry or whatever. And I had been looking for other things anyways. And when that happened, like I said, I was shocked, but at the same time, I was seriously relieved and just this weight lifted off my shoulders. And yeah, it was.
So it was what? Finish that.
It was good. It was a good feeling.
Good.
I mean, I know that sounds
blessing and a curse.
It really was. I freaked out because, I have two kids, right? We just moved month prior, bought a new house that I could only afford because I had this good paying job. And then bam, we're here.
Yeah. So that's a scary place to be in on May 27th of this year. So just so that part of the story, and I'm just learning about this too, hearing it for the first time, but I can see how the story's building right now,
Mhm.
right? I can already see it. It's May 27th, your life was flipped upside down. And tell me if this fits. This is kind of what I just heard. The company did for me what I was afraid to really do for myself up until that point. That's sort of what I thought that I heard you say, that you wanted to branch out, that you wanted to do something more or something different or something on your own and really find your place. Because I
Mhm.
also heard you say that you didn't ever feel like you really fit into any like real industry or career or place ever before. And so when that happened on May 27th, it was almost like God, higher power, the universe, whatever, did for you what you couldn't do for yourself. Is that because I can relate to that in many ways in my life, like getting clean, right?
Mhm.
If I could have got clean on my own, I would have woke up one day and just gotten clean. Like, hey guys, I just
Right.
decided today. If an alcoholic could get himself sober, it does take a bit of a miracle. Sometimes it does take a bit of a, I don't know, divine intervention, whatever you want to
Mhm.
call it. And so does that feel like it fit, like your boss or the universe, whoever was conspiring against you, did something for you that you couldn't do for yourself, and yet that you could have easily taken that like that was being done to you,
Mhm.
but you instead, how did you absorb that as if it was being done for you and turn that into, or did you have a bit of a pity potty moment at the beginning? How did you turn that struggle into a strength?
So, yeah, I mean, it's, me quitting my job and not having a form of income is not something I ever would have just done, you know? And yes, I did have like a pity party moment, but it was very, very short and it was very brief. Um, which still to this day honestly surprises me because, like, losing your job when you're making, six figures to nothing, you think that it would affect you more negatively. But,
Mm.
the mental toll that it was taking on me, and the way that I felt about myself, the way that I was with my kids, my boyfriend, just in my personal life, like when it happened, it was like, thank God, because I never would have done that. I never would have just been like, all right, peace, I'm out,
Right.
and go
Yeah.
start whatever.
I I think most of us, for us, that's true. There's this thing called complacency, and it's a real phenomenon. It's a real phenomenon. I can't really explain it. That's why it's a phenomenon. It's unexplainable. It's like, why would we settle, or why would we, if we really want more out of life, why do those of us who stay at jobs for 30, 40 years, why do we do that? Um, it's a phenomenon. Why do we settle in? It's fine. We can always mute you out if
Sorry,
it
my
continues.
phone, my daughter hit my cat wears a tile so we can track him, and she hit it and my phone was going off, so I'm sorry.
There's a tile so we can track. What is it? He blind and got like dementia. Does he wander off or something in the neighborhood?
Well, we just moved and we're on 12 acres now, so we wanted to
Ah,
kind of keep some certain tabs on him
I
because,
got you.
to
Okay.
make sure he didn't just, yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, that
sorry,
makes a
go on.
lot of sense. I'm not used to that. I'm more of used to city living, right? So we actually, my dog recently, we had to put my dog down. So it was a sad day
Aw.
last week. The dog, I know it's so, but it was such a good experience. He had a big tumor in his stomach and he couldn't go to the
Aw.
bathroom. And it was like, he was
It's for the
13 years,
best, yeah.
14 years old. Yeah. So, why was I bringing that up? Anyways, well, we were talking about memories with him and we were going through pictures. And do you know those collars that you can set up they'll get shocked on the
The
shock collar.
invisible fence. Yeah, my dogs
The
have those.
invisible fence. Right. It's almost torturous, you know what I mean, to a dumb dog like we had. Like our dog was he was so dumb. Loving, but dumb. Just
Yeah.
couldn't figure out the electric fence. We had to stop using it. You know what I mean? He
Just
just
stood
couldn't
there.
figure
He's
it
like,
out.
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
My dogs figured it out that if they run really, really fast, they can run through it before they get shocked. So yeah.
It's amazing how we can adapt. It's amazing how we can adapt, right? And so now I was reading your answers to our questionnaire, and I see here that prior you were a heavy equipment mechanic. So we talk about adapting here a second ago. How have you adapted to online marketing if you were a heavy equipment mechanic? I would assume that means working with your hands and maybe not particularly computer savvy. What's this transition been like for you?
It's been a couple years since I've been a mechanic. That's how I started out, and after I was there, I actually went into management. I was a supervisor. I oversaw in a service department, stuff like that. So, I don't know who out there is familiar with any sort of heavy equipment now, but 99% of it is all technology based. It's all automated,
It's
stuff like
not
that.
wait, it's not picks and shovels.
No. And you know what? This is totally dating myself, but like I tell these kids, they're kids to me, the guys that used to work for me. And I'm like, oh yeah, back in my day, we had it was all mechanical, linkage and stuff like that. And now you push a
Right.
button and it does it for you. So yeah.
Yeah. So still, what has been the most challenging part of it? Has it been video marketing? I mean, what have you? Let's talk about some of the things that have been a challenge for you, even if you've overcome them. I'd like to hear about that too, and then we'll talk about tiings tips that you've figured out, or any other way your advice can be helpful today. So how what have you what has been a challenge for you? What has challenged your can I do this, and your limiting beliefs, and every other thing? What has been the thing that's really been your your Goliath? If you were David.
Um Honestly, the whole thing. I am a very self-doubting person.
Mm.
And, you know, for one, even being on video, as my my name, says, I'm a very introverted person.
Mm.
I'm not a very, like to be public and, on camera and stuff like that. So doing the TikTok videos and stuff like that, it took me forever. I think my my older daughter, she's almost 13, so she's like right on that. She teaches me everything. And we did I think my first TikTok video we did like 10 times before I even posted it. And honestly, just believing that I can even do this. I will say though that you, the advisor, just the entire community and the course and everything like that, it gave me the confidence that I needed to actually know that I can do this, and when I stumble and fall, I know that I can reach out to, the community, and everybody in there is super helpful and super, willing to give you any piece of advice that they
Mm.
have. So yeah, I mean, I would say those were my two biggest things, and just overcoming that self-doubt, pushing myself every single day.
It's amazing that somebody like yourself has self-doubt. There's this really, it's almost like a cancer for our dreams and aspirations. It's a mental, it's not a mental illness, and I don't want to make fun of mental illness or seem like I am, but it is a limiting belief disease, and it's called comparisonitis.
Hmm.
And when I compare myself to others, I'm never going to win. It's never going to be good for me, because if I'm comparing, what I'm usually looking to do is try to identify why I'm less than. And so that's never a good thing to do, right? Um, but I think a lot of people would also look at you and say, well, here's somebody. What has she got to be embarrassed about? Or and I'm even dealing with this with my 6-year-old right now, where she's actually really talented at dancing, and um is a quick learner and is doing excellent, but she gets embarrassed. She gets embarrassed, and it's hard for her. Even she was in class yesterday and she nailed some little thing on the first try, and everybody was like, damn, you know how people do.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she like got like freaked out and started crying just because of like all the attention. I just think she felt
Mhm.
embarrassed. So it's not, and she didn't even grow. It's not like she's grown up in some like my wife and I have been really on purpose about trying to create an empowering environment and all that. So it's, would you describe for us, and also just both, so everybody can understand that it's not as easy as it looks for somebody like you, even though I'm going to call you young. You're a young, attractive woman who obviously is an intelligent person. And I think a lot of people would say, what's she afraid of? What would she, how could you talk to us a little bit about what living as an introvert and doing something like this really has been like for you, is like for you? And just so those of us who may not have those same issues, because listen, if we don't have those issues, we got different issues. So it's not, so we can understand that, so we can reach people who are like that in our marketing, but also so folks who are dealing with the same thing and maybe have dealt with it their whole life, as I'm describing my daughter, who knows where she'll go with it. Could you help us understand a little bit what it's like to operate as an introvert, and would you describe some of the things that you've overcame, and just say more about that?
Mhm. So, you know, eh, being introverted is very difficult in an extrovert world. I they call it, imposter syndrome. So like every time any job that I ever had, no matter how good I was at it, I never felt like I was good enough, but I never I don't know, like my some how do I want to explain this? Some people, take that and like it feeds them to go out and, challenge and things like that. But for me, up until recent, it was the opposite. If I
Mhm.
didn't feel like I was good enough, it was like, you know what? I don't want to do that. I
Mhm.
would make myself on the backside of it, but publicly to do it like this is not something that if you would have met me even 6 months ago that I would want to be doing,
Mhm.
and it's like everybody always says, you push yourself out of your comfort zone. You have to push yourself out of your comfort zone, because if you stay there, you're never going to succeed. And, you know, for me, sorry, I fidget a lot. For me, it's, I have to make this work. I have to, because, I
Mhm.
want to be with my kids. I want to hang out with my kids. And, yeah. So hopefully that answered your question. I don't know. I kind of
It
get,
did. It did, and the big one of the biggest things that comes up for me is you never know people's struggles. You just
Mhm.
never know, and that goes back to that comparisonitis thing. I mean, I can always find a way to criticize myself and put myself down, and in a way, I think we all do that, whether we consider ourselves
Yeah.
introverted, high self-esteem, low self-esteem. I mean, it's a real difficult thing to be gentle with ourselves,
Mhm.
and learn how to really, um, care for ourselves, because really that's what we're doing as entrepreneurs. We're ultimately now needing to, in some ways, reparent ourselves, right? Because now we're these
Mhm.
adults who are going through this, we're doing this challenging thing, and we got to be the one sometimes who says, "You got this, Dave. Come on, man.
Mhm.
You can do this," or, "Hey, you got this, Kelly." That self-talk. And
Yep.
so what are some of the things that you've done that have increased your confidence or increased um your ability even to do it? I mean, sometimes people have such a resistance, or a it's a physical, they get physically ill. It's kind of like the public speaking thing,
Mhm.
uh, it's just such a, people have a physical reaction. So it's really a true achievement, even for many of us, just to record a video and post it online, or to just get started. What are some of the things that you've done, whether it be self-talk, whether it be other little goofy things that have helped you just to, like, get something done, or get started with something, or to put all your thoughts aside, or just something that's helped with your overall confidence, or and it was kind of funny because I asked this question to, I forget who it was, but she said, well, my first videos, I went to the bar and got drunk. That's how I did it. So I mean, I'm not judging here anybody's strategy,
No.
but what have you done to both kind of get over that initial, like, okay, whether it be that very first video that you posted, and what do you do now on an ongoing basis to talk to yourself in a way that's empowering and coach yourself through the difficult moments?
So, not to get like on a personal level, but I
Go
struggle
ahead.
with depression.
Yeah,
It's
go ahead.
always run in my
Thank you for
family.
sharing that with us, by the way.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
of course. A lot of people do, and I feel like the stigma is starting to lift on it. It's not as bad as it was, a year, 2 years, 5 years ago. But I try to be open about it because, again, I know that some people do, and some people maybe don't have that voice or that, confidence or whatever, or that want to say it. So, anyways, that's another like constant negative thing in my head that also, contributes to me being introverted, is because I don't feel good enough. I have constant negative self-talk, and it's easier for me to be what I like to call myself, a hermit in my house on 12
Mm.
acres and nobody's around me.
Yeah.
Um but for me, and I'm 40 years old, and it has taken me 40 years to get mentally where I'm at, where like, and I still struggle every day, but where you get to a point where I wake up in the morning and it's like, you know what, bitch, you're gonna do this. You need to suck it up, and you need to get this done, because that what you had, May 27th and prior, you don't want that. You don't want to be there. It affected your mental health, it affected your family, and it affected my physical health and emotional health in a negative way. So I don't want that anymore. And I'm tired of going backwards. I'm tired of staying where I'm at. So, it's onwards and upwards from here. So it's constant trying to, it's every single day is a struggle. So I don't have the answer, but every single day you just have to continuously remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing, and that you are fully capable of doing it. So
Yeah. Well, that was really real and really raw. So thanks for, I'd like to just point something out, that what I found in my marketing, and nowadays, in content creation, it's we're obviously out here marketing, but we can't just go pitching stuff. So we have to tell stories, and we have to teach, and we have to do what we call deliver edutainment in order to hook people into watching our content. And whenever somebody says, and I can't remember what your exact words were, but kind of like the I wasn't going to share this, but, or I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like that, when
mhm.
you share, like it's almost like, it's almost like it's almost like a movie producer saying, I really wasn't going to put in the best part of the movie, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like we do that. And that part that you just said for us and led us into the part about struggling with depression and feeling unmotivated and wanting to be a hermit and because that's easier and having to face your daughters I mean, man, this is just such real shit that everybody can really relate to. And while I'm not a huge proponent of going out there and just airing dirty laundry and just sharing shit with no actual point, because there's a simple way to know if you're telling a story and it's actually useful. Tell a story to make a point.
Mhm.
Make a point and tell a story. It's just there's no, you know what I mean? It's and so
Yep.
my content has to have a point, and if I can tell a story to make that point, all the better. And so, yeah, that's really powerful. It's sort of like what happened when I started sharing that I had struggled with drug addiction. And in a way, I think people and I started doing that over 10 years ago when I was early in the game. And it was like it just creates a different bond. It creates a different level of trust and it creates a different level of connection when you share your vulnerabilities. And that's what Brene Brown's concept of daring greatly in leadership, leading via humility and vulnerability versus like a tyrant. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
a lot of us look at success and think that you have to be that big A personality, that big loudest person in the room, and it couldn't be further from the truth. Even actually in 2022, I would say that those kind of people are more of a turnoff than
Yep.
ever before. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. And I think that's why I related so much. I didn't have, an addiction problem, but I think that's why I related to you so much and to, Legendary is because you shared your struggles and, it spoke to me in a way that, was a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure. And while everybody in a world of, especially nowadays, like e- everybody, just think about all the ways in which everything's fake every day. Just
Mhm.
try to think about all the like what is actually real in your life. The probably the connections and interactions that you have with your children
Yeah, absolutely.
are the realest shit in your life. That's it.
Yep. Yep.
Everything else is just a bunch of everybody's faking, smiling, bullshitting each other. That's my experience with a lot of humanity, and I'm not saying humanity is a bad thing. I'm just saying that we have this whatever it is, this sort of put on a fake face and keep the wheels spinning. Just put on that smile and keep on going. And there's a different kind of magic that happens when people just be real, just tell the truth. And so I've the biggest challenge that I've seen with marketers in learning how to tell stories is learning how to not just puke all of your current struggles onto your audience.
Mhm.
That's something that we absolutely don't want to do. We don't want to puke all of our current struggles. We never ever want to complain to our audience. We never ever want to post anything like like that if you looked at somebody posting that, you would say, I don't really, that's not really somebody who I want to work with or work around or learn from. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's one of the reasons
Mhm.
why I suggest no political post. No, but why? Because why do it? Who gives a
Yep.
shit? You're only posting that kind of stuff for yourself and it's just turning other people off. Bring people in, magnetize people, bring them in by creating a space for people to feel safe, to listen, to learn, to and it's a challenge. It's a real
Yeah.
challenge, especially for people who have extroverted personalities. And I have a bit of both. I'm a introvert, but I can really turn extrovert. It's a survival mechanism for me. It always was. right? And so I just turn that struggle into a strength. But I find that a lot of extroverted people have a difficult time connecting because they spend a lot of time talking at people. And I actually find that oftentimes introverted and good listeners have a better a better go at building community. So are you finding that your personality actually can be a strength in this business?
I do. I feel like I may not be for everybody, and I may not be completely blowing up in the beginning because I'm, super energetic or whatever word you want to use. But I feel like I'm relatable to certain people, and maybe those are the certain people that felt like I felt before, where they don't feel like they have a voice, they don't feel like they can do these things, and it just, yeah.
I'm looking at this Lisa Lemon's comment. Me too. I don't like my voice and feelings of not being able to speak well. And it's so interesting that I've talked about this before. I just want to bring this up to everybody, and I want to explain in my very, elementary way what this means. It's called the liking gap. The liking gap. And what it is it is something that any one of you can look up on Wikipedia, okay? And I'll open it up for everybody right now. It is a phenomenon where you underestimate how much people like you, okay? The liking gap is the disparity between how much a person believes that another person likes them and that other person's actual opinion. Studies have found that most people underestimate how much other people like them and enjoy their company. So, for those of you who don't like the sound of your voice or who, think that you're not a person that people like and that a person that people would enjoy listening to and talking to and following and even learning from, you probably are a human being who is dealing with the phenomenon that affects everybody, all of us, where people tend to be overly self critical and ruminate more on what they have said. And in turn, people tend to not think about other what the other person said. We are often very self-absorbed and think that everyone is judging us. Some good examples of this is the spotlight effect. The spotlight effect is when people think everyone is looking and judging them more than they truly are. The illusion of transparency also shows how we get self-absorbed in social situations. This illusion is when people tend to think that everyone knows exactly what we are thinking, when in reality, they do not. Second, in conversations, we tend to be as polite as possible, and especially in the first encounters. This politeness is kind of a facade people use, which can cause people to misunderstand how much the other person likes them. Third, people tend to protect against rejection. One way of doing this is to not show interest in someone. Fourth, conversations are often quite complex and we miss verbal and nonverbal cues. An example of this when we are thinking about what we want to say and ignore what the person just said to us. But gosh, this is so powerful. So much you can learn by just going through and
Hmm.
reading about how not just you, but all of us have these weird little things within us where we, like the liking gap, think that people don't like us. And it's almost like you will never know. You will never be able to know how much people like you. And so, really, what we need to do is we need to just completely, and this is the ultimate goal, detach from this addiction of knowing or needing to know what other people think about us and really honestly stop giving a shit so much. And where can we redirect all of that energy that we're right now caring what others think and spending so much time trying to guess what's going on in their head? Spending all of that time on self-care, self-love, and building up my belief in my confidence, in my love, in my appreciation for myself and all my little quirks and all the treasure that is within me. And there's so much treasure within each one of us, emotional passion and knowledge and experience and things that we could be sharing. And now we have this platform that even if our shitty little kids or our shitty little grandkids won't listen to us, we can go out there and we can spread our value and our emotional treasure and our stories with the world, and we can make fun, we can make money from it and have fun. But we have to be aware of some of this really silly shit. It's not even complex stuff like this liking gap thing, to where it's like, oh, no shit. Everybody struggles with this thing. The most important thing for everybody to understand is, and this is the number, if anybody could have one thing from me about entrepreneurship, is remember this, that all those shitty little uncomfortable feelings that you're feeling, guess what? A lot of us feel that same way. You're not the only one. You're not alone. And it's hard for those of us who are more hermits and introverts to kind of go out there and ask for help and put ourselves out there. But what I want everyone to know is that even if people are not sharing the truth about how they really are feeling inside, like we're doing here on the show, and like Kelly did today, they're feeling that way and they're overcoming and taking action anyways. And that's what we have to remember. We cannot think to ourselves, oh, that person must be feeling total courage and confidence, and that's why they're executing. No, it's not true, right, Kelly? You're freaking the fuck out inside and you're doing it anyways. You know what I mean?
Every
What comes up
day.
for you as I say that? Is this true? Is this true? Does it feel like it fits?
100%. Yeah. And, another thing, like you just said, the liking gap, I have to continuously remind myself that other people's opinions of me is absolutely none of my business. So it's hard to continue to remind yourself that truly whether it's good or bad, what your thoughts are, like 99% of it probably isn't true. And frankly, it's none of your fucking business. So
well,
yeah.
your brain was made, well, it's none of your business what anybody else thinks. And I wish I could make it none of my business what I think. But unfortunately, I have a machine that makes 6,000 thoughts per day. And most of them are fear-based thoughts. Why? Let me sprinkle a little bit of logic onto all of our emotional craziness, because we all have emotional. It's the 6,000 thoughts. They create emotions, because millions of years ago, I would walk out of my cave, see a saber-toothed tiger, and have to freak out and run and protect myself, right? But now, when we look at everything, that same sensor, it's called our amygdala in our brain, which I know nothing more than what it's called. Okay, I'm not a neuroscientist, but it's the little thing inside of our brain that says, holy shit, danger, right? And it's like, just imagine it's like this little thing inside of your brain that flashes red whenever it sees danger. So this thing's flashing red all day long, because can you imagine back 100,000 years ago, there was scary shit everywhere. Can you imagine? We were actually trying to stay alive. We didn't have guns and buildings and tanks. The bear right there, we were not the king of the jungle, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in many ways, there was a lot of things that could kill us, right? Is what I'm saying. We had to protect ourselves from other tribes or other, people that were just invading our land and wanting to kill us. And when I say I'm talking about all around the world. And so, gosh, it makes a lot of sense that I have this built-in thing that flashes red when there's danger around and I freak out. But where I go wrong is now all of a sudden I'm looking at my phone. Okay. and I'm flashing red, like it's scary, like it's danger. And it's not. It's not the same thing. It's not even remotely the same thing, but my brain is having the same reaction because that's what we've only been doing this for 10 years where
Mm-hmm.
we were running from, animals and all kinds of crazy stuff for thousands and thousands and some believe millions. Okay. So of course I've got DNA. I've got survival mechanisms that are going to start flashing red when my brain thinks I'm in danger. But I got to not believe my brain the same way that I got to not believe everybody else's bullshit when they're projecting their limiting beliefs onto me. When I raise that phone, my life is not in danger. Despite what I may tell myself, my brain may be freaking out. Oh my, the feelings,
Mm-hmm.
the thoughts. But here's the thing.
Our brains are assholes.
You're in no danger. You're in zero. As a matter of fact, here's the truth. I'm sitting in a house right now, office house. Okay. I can see if somebody's coming. I may even have weapons laying around. I'm not going to tell you. Why would I tell my enemy that I have weapons or what weapons I have? I may even have weapons around. The real danger is something that could happen, physical, right? But I'm safe. I'm set. Nobody can even infect me with any of these new diseases, elephant pox and whatever the hell else is going around now, right? I'm actually safer than I've ever been as a human being in millions and millions of years. I'm safer than I've ever been. But my brain's still going off and saying, you're about to go live. There's a saber-toothed tiger about to kill you. And it's just not true. When I think about it like that and I put it in that perspective, it makes and I need to learn to laugh at myself too, because I can't take myself so seriously. I got to really, and when I look at some of these things, the way that I just described, it allows me to laugh at myself a little bit more. Right?
Yep, absolutely.
What
You gotta
final,
find the
oh,
joy. Sorry, you gotta find the joy in the. If you can't make fun of yourself, then I feel like that's one of those things that you just got to overcome.
what would you like to leave us with? What would you like us to know about you, or what would you like us to know about the journey, or what would you like to say to somebody who may be brand new or who's just getting started right now and feeling either skeptical, nervous, doubtful of themselves?
You got to rip off the Band-Aid and just do it. Like, it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. I mean, I haven't been doing this that long. I started in, I think, the end of June, but it's uncomfortable. Every single day we're uncomfortable. You just got to pick your uncomfortableness that you want to sit in. I found this quote the other day. It was actually, or this mantra, quote, whatever. It said, you can either find an excuse or you can find a way. So, that's something you got to continuously remind yourself, is that you can do this. You're going to fail. You're going to, not get the followers that you want. You're not going to necessarily hit $1 million in a week, but just be consistent and you will get there. You are going to get there. And yeah, you just, like you say, you got to fail forward.
Yeah. Well, we'll follow your journey. We'll support you as you continue to fail forward. And just as long as when you fail, it's amazing. Even if I gotta get there 6 feet at a time as I fall forward and then just get up where I fell, it's amazing where I can get to if I just don't stop. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we underestimate, is how much we can accomplish in a couple of years if we don't stop. But we have such high expectations for what we want to accomplish in a short time,
Mm-hmm.
and if we don't hit those super high expectations, getting rich, if I don't make a commission in the first 3 days, it's a scam, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever the expectations that are so unrealistic that we underestimate what we can accomplish in a couple of years. I felt like you were going to say something as you heard me say that. Did something come up? No.
Yeah, I don't remember what I was going to say.
Well,
Must not have been important.
are you able now at least to see into the future and have more hope and see a more predictable future, a more reliable future financially, and even a future that would afford you the freedoms that you actually really deep inside really want?
Oh, absolutely. It's the first couple weeks for me was kind of a whirlwind. It was like just one thing after the next, and it was like, holy shit, this is crazy. And then it leveled out, and it was kind of slow. And obviously, you get in your head and you're like, oh my God, I sucked, I failed, and what did
Mhm.
I do wrong? Whatever. And it's just you got to stay consistent. And I'm really looking forward to where this is going to take me and my family. My kids always wanted to go to Hawaii, so we're going to get there. So it may be a year, but we're going to get there.
Yeah, good for you. And not only will you get there, but you will go and do things that you never imagined that you could do or would do. And you'll have things that you didn't think that you could have. And there'll be a time in the future where how you live right now will be almost feel like a different life, almost feel like
Hmm.
a different version of your life. And we know that's true, because if we look at our lives, we can look back, and sometimes we've gone up, but sometimes we go down, and we feel like, gosh, how did I get here? Well, in that same way that we can be asking ourselves, how do we get here in a bad situation, we can say the same thing can happen in a positive way, like, holy crap, like, I can't believe I'm here. Pinch
Hmm.
me, like, and um in that time, and I do that every day. How the hell do I know what the hell I'm talking about? Well, because I
Right.
do it every day. I do it every day. I
Yep.
go, holy shit, I cannot believe it. I just can't believe it actually worked out. I mean,
Hmm.
it actually worked out. And now it's a real legitimate thing. And go figure, for many years, I was out here doing this internet marketing thing, and it was kind of like work from home. Who's this asshole? He's an internet
Yeah.
scammer. And now, how blessed are we that everybody wants to work from home, and our whole marketplace and our whole society is transitioning to both wanting to work from home, but also wanting to spend all of their attention on these places that we know exactly how to turn that attention into dollars. It's like,
Hmm.
sheesh Louise, how did we get so lucky? Because we could have easily, all of us who are here listening to this today, could have easily fell into, you know, I'm going to go to plumbing apprenticeship. And while there's absolutely nothing wrong with plumbing, um, look, if my son was sitting in front of me and he said, "Dad, give me some advice about where I should put where I should build a career," and the choices were plumbing or digital entrepreneurship, come on. I would certainly, but there's all kinds of people all around the world who right now in this gold rush. Kelly, I was thinking about it last night. Although we don't have picks and shovels, there's a gold rush that's happening right now. It's like a digital gold rush. And there's people right now who somebody just enrolled in college and committed $80,000, $100,000 in unforgivable debt to enroll into a program that they're going to spend the next 4 to 6 years getting a degree that they're not even going to use. How
Yep.
lucky are we that we're getting, you know what I mean? And it's all about perspective, how we
Hmm.
choose to view this, how we choose to view this opportunity. But again, going back to that thing about pinching myself, I just pinch myself that, and it's not of, oh, look at me, I'm so special, but humility and gratitude that I found this information in somebody today, some poor bastard, some poor soul coming right out of high school, being like, somebody's telling them that that's the only path. They have
Yep.
no fucking clue what they want to do with their life. No clue. Who knows their ass from a hole in the ground when they're 18? But we're blessed and we're lucky. And now look, we're also lucky. Another reason why those of us with small children are lucky is that we now can give our kids more information, more options.
I always tell my kids that, there's no rules in life. So if you don't want to get married, if you don't want to have kids, there's no rules. You don't have there's no set boxes that you have to check. So, especially with this now, this just opens a whole new world for me and for my kids, and for me to educate my kids. So,
yeah. Well, Kelly, it's been great to talk. Thanks for staying on so long and sharing so honestly. And we'll all be rooting you on and supporting you every step of the way. And come back and talk to us again in a couple of months and tell us how your journey's going.
I will. Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Keep up the good work.
Thanks. Bye.
See ya. Bye. All right, my friends. Wow. Another day, another guest, another story, another example. Tune in, keep tuning in. Tomorrow, another episode. We're going to do it next week. We're going to do it the week after. We're going to do it the week after that. We're going to keep doing this the week after that because sometimes we got to keep hearing. We got to keep hearing that it's possible and seeing examples. And the other beautiful thing is we give our clients and our students a platform to share their story. And it's one of the coolest things to be able to do that, to come back and share your story. So, not everybody wants to do it, but for those of you who want to, we look so forward to hearing your story and learning from you here on this platform on Wake Up Legendary. So thanks for being a guest, Kelly, and of course, everybody else who's been guest up until this point. And thank you for listening and watching. You guys make this show really incredible and all the awesome comments. We'll see you back here for another episode tomorrow. Again, Monday through Friday. If you, I know we didn't send out a text message. I noticed that. And so yeah, we're testing some things right now with text and sending text and not sending text. And it looks like quite a few of you rely on those text messages. So just want to let you know that's noted as well. Appreciate your feedback. We'll see you back here for another episode tomorrow. Get out of here.